Good morning. My name is Nico Jung, and I will be your chairperson for today's service. Are there any visitors or new students and families here this morning? If so, welcome to our temple. Could those of you sitting near them help to find the proper pages for the sutras, gathas, and readings? Thank you. Um, First, we'll have Sambujo on page 24 in the Big Book, followed by Sutra Chanting Jusege on page 23 in the Little Book, or page 93 in the Big Book. The page numbers for the Sutra book will be displayed on the front screen and on your monitors at home, so please follow along. Please rise to sing the Gatha When We See the Golden Sun, which is page 101 in the small Dharma school service book, followed by the Golden Chain, which is located on page 2 in the little book, or page 15 in the book under the Golden Chain, or the big book under Golden Chain.
When we see the golden sun shining from above, we are mindful of the Buddha's love. For us all his pure compassion sheds its steadfast glow. His doctrine, wisdom's way to show. When we see the silver moon gleaming in the sky, we remember still our Lord is nigh. Ought to guide us through this earthly night by into joy and light.
The Golden Chain. I am a link in Amita's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I will keep my link bright and strong. I will be kind and gentle to every living thing, and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will think pure and beautiful thoughts, say pure and beautiful words, and do pure and beautiful deeds. May every link in Amita's golden chain of love be bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo Amida Butsu.
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 Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda.
Now we'll have a Dharma lesson by Ringbon Sakamoto.
Good morning. It's good to see all of you here this morning for this Dharma school service. And for those of you who are viewing us from home, welcome. Good to not see you, but I'm glad you're joining us for this morning service. In the time of Shakyamuni Buddha, the society was divided into castes. So there was 5 basic castes. There was the Brahmins, the merchants, the warriors, the Sudras, the working class, and then the untouchables. So those who are really outside of the caste system. And each of these castes had privileges and things that they were responsible for doing. So the Brahman were the priestly class. They were the teachers. They were the ones who studied the Vedas. At that time, this is based in Hindu society. So they studied the Vedas and shared that with others. And then there's a warrior class that would support or the aristocracy. And then the merchant class that would do kinds of things that we think of merchants doing, gathering together things that could be sold to people that people needed, and organizing that. And then the Sudras were the kind of a labor class. They were the people that were assigned to do things that that were needed to get done. So building things, making things. They were the class of people that would have to do this kind of labor. And then the untouchables were the people who were outside that would be given the tasks of things like taking care of the sewer system, taking care of dead animals, of canning And that was their kind of responsibility. So all the kinds of things that we tend to not think of what we would not want to do, but somebody had to do. And so they would assign the untouchables to do that. And although there have been efforts to kind of take apart or to lessen the structure of the caste system, it still kind of persists even today. So there are still these levels of society that people fit in. And you could marry into a higher caste, but then the person in the higher caste would go down to a lower caste. And if you're in a higher caste, you married somebody in a lower caste, you would go down in that. And so again, the caste system allowed you privileges, and you were able to do certain things because of that. When I'm sure you remember the story of Upali, who was the young barber, who was a part of that. I guess he was a Sudra class, the working class, and kind of bordering on the untouchables, because he was really not a part, or his family was really not a part of society, so he had to try and find a way to earn a living. And so what he did was he started to, as a barber, and this is one of the kinds of things, again, not everybody is able to do or would want it to do. And so Upali started working as a barber, as a very young person. And he was able to earn his living doing that, and to help his family by doing that. And one day he heard about Shakyamuni Buddha coming to town, and so he went to go listen to Shakyamuni Buddha. And it was something that he felt that he really wanted to do, and so he was afraid to ask, but eventually he approached Shakyamuni Buddha, and he asked if even a person like him could become a student, a disciple of the Buddha. And of course, Shakyamuni Buddha said yes. Doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, what your background is, everyone is welcome in the Sangha. And the interesting part about this story for me is that so Upali became an ordained monk in Shakyamuni Buddha's Sangha. And after Upali was ordained and became a monk, there were others who decided that they would like to also become students of Shakyamuni Buddha. But they were from the aristocracy. They were princes and people who were very of means. And so when they entered Shakyamuni Buddha said, sure, you can come in. But when they became disciples of Shakyamuni Buddha, they expected to be treated in the same way that they were treated outside of the Sangha, that they were they were recognized, that they had privilege. And so when they saw Upali, they expected Upali to take care of their belongings. So they told Upali, you have to bring these things, you have to carry it for us, we have these things that we want you to do. And Shakyamuni Buddha stopped them and said, Upali has entered the Sangha before you. And so he is your senior. And so you cannot treat Upali in that way. And so although there's no caste in the Sangha, Shakyamuni Buddha's Sangha, and which we are a part of as well, those who are able to teach, they should be recognized and acknowledged for what they have to offer. And so these later princes and people who came after Upali understood that in the Sangha, everybody is a part of the Sangha. And there is no caste system in the Sangha where somebody, just because of what they're born into, has certain privileges. Just because they look a certain way, wear certain clothes, that they have privileges. And so Shakyamuni Buddha, in that Sangha, tried to share with all of us, even to this day, that we are all have skills and abilities, and that we should share these skills and abilities and recognize and acknowledge also the skills and abilities that others have, and that we should, as a Sangha, recognize how important each and every one of us are in the Sangha. So, sorry, as we live out our days, we look and we see in the world different things, and we look and we say, oh, this person is like this, or this person is like this, without really even knowing who that person is. And what we have to do is our responsibility. And for Bitsuing, it's a part of our statement of who we are, where we want to be. We want to be a temple that includes everybody, that invites everyone into the temple, regardless of whether they're even Buddhists or not, that everybody is welcome into the temple. As Amida Buddha would say, just as you are, come to the temple and be welcome. Again, it doesn't matter what your status might be, just like Shakyamuni Buddha's time, whether you're a prince or an aristocrat or a lowly barber. Although in that time, Upali was part of that lower caste. Everybody is welcome into the Sangha, and everybody has something to contribute to the Sangha. So, as we live our lives, think about, this is important for us to remember and to think about, that regardless of who we are, where we come from, just as you are, for us in Jodo Shinshu, just as you are affirmed by Amida Buddha, able to become Buddhas equally. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Rinbon Sakamoto. Please rise to sing the Gotha Farewell on page 45 in the Little Service Book, followed by the Promise located on page 5 in the Little Book, or on page 15 in the Big Book.
Dharma school is over for another day. Let us gather round the shrine, bow our heads and say, thank you, teacher, for your help. Thank you, everyone. Buddha's love will keep us safe till our work is done. So we'll meet again next week. Won't you take good care? Let us try to do what's right, always kind and fair. We shall spread the happiness faith in Buddha brings. Now it's time to say goodbye till we meet again. Namu Amida Butsu, sing this fine refrain. Namu Amida Butsu, sunny day or rain. Namu Amida Butsu, strong in faith remain. Namu Amida Butsu, till we meet again.
The Promise. We thank the Buddha for showing us the way of freedom. We will endeavor to walk in his noble path every day of our lives. Namu Amida Butsu.
Namu Amida Butsu.
Namu Amida Butsu.
Namu Amida Butsu.
Namu Amida
Namu
Butsu.
Amida Butsu.
Thank you to Rinban Sakamoto, Reverend Jones, Mr. Akizuki, Mrs. Tanabe, organist Ms. Tsukimoto, and AB coordinator Mr. Onishi. Are there any announcements?
Hello, my name is Clinton from the Dharma School 5th and 6th grade class. The Dharma School is working on an all Dharma School Dana project. We will be making pet toys for a local animal shelter for old towels. We are asking for donations. The animal shelter will also accept fleece bags for their animals, so we will also be collecting those to give to them. There is a container in the back of the church to place the items.
Good morning. My name is Jeannie Nakano. I am with the Eco-Sangha Committee. I want to tell you that in 3 weeks, it's a very lucky day. It will be April 13th. Isn't that a lucky day?
Yes, it is.
It is a
absolutely.
lucky day for 2 reasons. Also, it is our 13th annual Earth Day. 13 years we've been doing this. We did take a bit of a break during the pandemic, and it took us a while to come back. But we've been back the second year now. We have a very special speaker. He happened to be born in San Jose, went to the schools here, came to the Betsuing. His father at that time was the superintendent. His name is Michael Kobori. You may have remembered his father, George Kobori. He was the superintendent of your Dharma school in those years. So Michael Kobori is about in his mid-60s, but he's a very special discovery. I didn't know who he was, but I saw an ad in the Mercury News, and I thought, wow, this is a Levi Strauss ad, and here is a Japanese man pictured, and I wondered who he was. It gave us name. It didn't give a city. I just wondered who he was. And sometimes being curious really leads to a nice find. I asked around, and I found out that someone knew his mother and the family. And so that's how I got in contact with Michael Kobori. Otherwise, he would have just been a name to us. So it's really nice that on April 13th, he will be a guest speaker. Now, what makes this service special is that as you look around the room, there'll be a lot of empty seats, right, for Dharma School service? Well, on that Sunday, all of the Sangha will be here at the 9:30 service. So the adults who come for the 10:10 will be here for the 9:30 service. So you start the service together like you normally do, and then at 10 o'clock, you'll be excused with your teachers to go on to the annex building to begin your Earth Day activities. Now, the adults will stay, and they will continue service until 10:30, which is still an hour service, right? So the time of service, half hour, 1 hour, does not change. And at 10:30, all the adults will join you in the annex for activities. So we want to make it an all Sangha activity. In the past, it's been mainly the children, but this year we want to include the adults. So you will be included, so come and join us. I'm going to make this announcement one more time next Sunday. Hopefully I catch everyone that I missed today. So thank you for your attention. I'll see you on April 13th. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Yuki Elliott Akimoto.
Hi, I'm Amanda Eastman, and we are continuing for the announcements for the Earth Day coming up on April 13th, and we are asking for, okay, good, that's not me. We are asking for donations of t-shirts that we can upcycle. We're going to be making these bags. This is made from an O1 shirt from 2013. And it's going to be on April 13th and the 13th year. So if you have any special T-shirts that you would like to upcycle into a bag, please remember to bring them. We are also doing scarves and bracelets.
Yes. So if you have, so any size T-shirt, so you have little T-shirts, then bring those, because actually those are kind of nice because they're a smaller bag. This gets kind of big. And then if you have a special T-shirt that you want to meet, we're looking for all kinds of T-shirts. So if you have anything, just bring it in. But if you have a special T-shirt that you want to be converted into a bag or into a scarf or something, then just bring it on Earth Day, which is April the 13th. And we're also we're also collecting cereal boxes and for some kind of game. And then we're also collecting books. So we're gonna do a book swap on that day. So if you can bring in any books that you no longer want, then that would be great. Or if you even have a special favorite book that you want to share and bring that into, and I would suggest writing like a little note of why you like that book. So that way you can go ahead and share that. I think that's it for the, and then don't forget to enter in the art contest for Ikosonga Art Contest.
Now my mom also has something. And also, you should be taking trains more than cars and airplanes. And then tell the joke.
Okay.
The waves one.
Oh, he wants to tell an Earth Day joke. How do you know an ocean is friendly?
It waves.
Arlene Mori for BWA. I'd like to thank everyone for donating to the Spartan Food Pantry. We delivered a whole truck full of goods on last Monday. And this is just a little thank you. They said we're overwhelmed and amazed with your generous donations. We're submitting, we also had checks, so we're submitting the checks to the university's Tower Foundation office to process and put into the pantry's funds. Please extend our sincerest gratitude to all members of the San Jose Buddhist Women's Association for your immense support to the pantry participants. Thank you very much. Okay, so thank you very much.
Last but not least, continuing with the All Sangha activities, we will have Hanamatsuri Day Luncheon, April 6th, so the weekend prior to Eco Sangha. There's a sign-up list in the back, and an email was sent last Sunday.
And then last, just a reminder for Gotae is our Keishki service that'll be held in conjunction with the Gotae service. Bishop Harada will be our guest speaker for the day. The Keishki is a service where you are presented with a Dharma name. There are registration forms in the Dharma as well as in the office. So if you're interested, please register for this. There's a $50 fee for the Keishki, to participate in Keishki. And that's just for processing, so that this name actually gets recorded, not just here at the Bitsing, but also at the BCA. And that'll, again, take place in conjunction with our Gotae service, which is on May the 18th. Applications need to be in by mid-April so that we can send those applications up to Bishop Harada. He will send a list of kanji characters that you can select from that will be included in the name that you'll be presented with. So again, please look for that form in the newsletter. Okay, thank you.
Before everyone leaves the temple, please straighten all the books for the next service. Those of you who are interested are welcome to attend the adult English service following this service. For your safety, please obey the crossing guards and look both ways before crossing the street. Thank you for attending today's service.
joke. Good job. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. What happened to? Oh. Good morning. 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 Yeah. But it was mild, so it's not contagious.
Good morning. My name is Janice Mizota, and I will be your chairperson for today's service. Before we begin this morning's service, a couple announcements. Please, there's no food or drink in the Hondo. And also, if you can please silence your cell phones, that would be appreciated. We will begin this morning's service with Psalm Bujo on page 24 in the large service book, followed by Sutra Chanting, Ju Sege, on page 23 in the small service book, and page 93 in the large service book. The page numbers of the sutras will be displayed on the front screen and on your monitors at home, so please follow along. Okay, next we will rise and sing The Texture of Life on page 94 of the small service book, and then remain standing afterwards for the three treasures on page 3 of the small Dharma School book.
The texture of the life to be, we weave in colors all our own, and in the realm of destiny we reap as we have sown. We make ourselves the joys and fears with which the coming life is made, and fill alone our future spheres with sunshine or with shade. We live our present lives again with memory warm or coldly dim. The pictures of the past remain, man's work shall follow him. Please join me in the three treasures on page 3. Hard is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear it. If we do not deliver ourselves in the present life, no hope is there that we shall be freed from suffering and sorrow in the ocean of birth and death. Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of your way to enlightenment, and awaken in ourselves our supreme will. I take refuge in Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depths of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together become units in true accord in your life of harmony, in a spirit of universal oneness, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through ages of myriads of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo.
And now we'll have Reverend Jones do this morning's Dharma talk.
Thank you. Please join me in Gasho. Seeing misery in those who cling to views, a wise person should not adopt any of them. A wise person does not, by opinions, become arrogant. How could anyone bother those who are free, who do not grasp at any views? But those who grasp after views and opinions wander about the world annoying people. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo. Well, good morning. Welcome to this morning's service, and thanks for being here. Thanks to those of you from home watching us. The passage that I read at the beginning comes from Shakyamuni Buddha. The noted Theravada mindfulness teacher and author Jack Kornfield uses this passage to talk about the beginner's mind. Approaching a situation or discussion with a beginner's mind means that you're open to new ideas and not set in your ways. You're ready to listen and not locked into your views. We've spoken frequently here about attachments. Our discussion frequently focuses on material possessions or even people in our lives. But we are also attached, very attached, to our views. All of us are aware of the rather harsh environment we live in these days. It seems almost impossible to have a civil conversation with someone if politics or politicians are involved. Even if these conversations start off low-key, they frequently escalate to the point where anger appears, voices are raised, and feelings get hurt. Much of this has to do with the fact that we enter into a conversation with a set of views that we have developed and nurtured over time. Rather than approaching a situation with a beginner's mind, that is, as someone who has little or no knowledge of the situation, we bring in what we consider our great experience and our considerable expertise. This is not always a recipe for success. I want to relate to you a story that was published in a recent edition of Tricycle magazine and related by the Venerable Mahandasri Thero, a Sri Lankan monk. One day, a man came to the Buddha, and he started yelling, insulting, and cursing Buddha. Do you know how the Buddha faced the situation? He was smiling. He didn't have any reaction throughout the conversation. He put on a positive smile on his face, looking at the person who was yelling at him very kindly. Now, after some time, the man stopped yelling. Everything that he had packed down inside him was out. He was finished. Then the Buddha asked him a wonderful question. It didn't quite fit the situation. It was out of the blue. The Buddha asked, "Do you get visitors to your home?" The man was astonished. Taken aback, he replied, "Yes, I get many visitors to my home." The Buddha kindly asked him, "Do you treat them with food and drink?" The man replied, "Yes, I do treat them." Then the Buddha said, "What if they do not accept what you have given them? What if they do not accept your food and drink?" Then the man laughed at the Buddha and said, "If they do not accept my treats, then the treats belong to me. I will eat them and drink them." With a great and wonderful smile on his face, the Buddha said, "The same goes with this situation. You treated me with rude and harsh words. You treated me with anger. But I do not accept what you have tried to give me. I will never accept those rude and harsh words that you treated me with. So, since I do not accept anything that you have given, then everything that you have tried to give me belongs to you. You must eat it yourself." The man was amazed, but his anger cooled down. The Buddha preached the Dharma to him, and after that he became a follower. So what do you think of the way the Buddha handled the rude man? It seems a little too easy, doesn't it? How would you react if someone approached you, raising their voice, using harsh language, maybe even insulting you? I'd venture to say that most of us would be put on the defensive. We might even raise our voice in return, maybe throw a couple choice words back at the person who spoke to us in such a manner. But that's not what happened. What was the process that the Buddha used? First, the Buddha remained positive. He put on a big smile on his face. When someone is approaching you with anger, they are often enraged. Rage is like a fire. And like fire, it requires oxygen to keep burning. When we yell back, raise our voices, and respond in the same way that we are addressed, we are adding oxygen to that flame. We are, as the saying goes, fighting fire with fire. The way to take the oxygen away from the fire is to smile and listen. Separate out the person speaking, the way they are speaking. Listen to what they are saying. If the source of their anger is a mistake that you've made, don't get angry, defensive, or sad. Just correct the mistake. If, on the other hand, you have not made a mistake, the next step is not to try to prove them wrong. That would just once again add oxygen to the flame. Remember, they are still angry, and their ability to listen deeply to you is being disrupted by their anger. At this point, silence is the best tool. Consider the logic here. This person is angry about something that was not the result of your action or inaction. If you continued the heated discussion by trying to help identify the responsible party, you are simply helping to deflect their anger onto someone else. This is not your problem to solve, nor is it the angry person really looking for a solution. They're looking for someone to blame. If they're really looking for a solution to their problem, your calm and pleasant demeanor provides an opportunity for them to discuss the situation calmly. At that point, constructive conversation is possible. Perhaps you can imagine yourself as part of this conversation. Maybe you've had the experience of this exact same scenario. Were you in the position of the Buddha, the innocent person just minding their own business when somebody begins yelling and speaking harshly to them, possibly even implying that their problems are all your fault? Or were you the person making the accusations? If you're over 20 years old, I would be willing to bet that you've played both of these roles at least some point in your life. And as a parent, if you have more than one child, you have more than likely been in the listener's position. Families can be riddled with these situations, whether it's between spouses, siblings, or between parent and child. And age only changes the vocabulary involved in the conversation. But this type of situation can just as easily present itself at work, in the community. It can even happen at church, even a Buddhist church. Remember that when we're dealing with someone who is angry about something, there's a possibility that they could also be feeling betrayed or hurt. So there could be a number of emotions at play. Your response should be first to remain calm and smile. This should be a friendly smile, not a sarcastic grin that says, "Here we go again." Then listen. Listen deeply. That is, don't interrupt. Don't complete their sentences. Don't help them with word choices when they pause. Just listen. Don't argue or defend. Don't add oxygen to that fire of their anger. If there is something that you have actually done wrong, acknowledge it and fix it. There's no need to apologize during this discussion. You can save that for after you've resolved the issue. If there's nothing you've done wrong, allow your calm to make room to discuss the possible resolutions. This is not the time to affix blame. You do not need to help them find someone else to take this anger to right now. When someone approaches you in this fashion, they're trying to unload a burden. You do not need to take ownership of that burden. Even if there is something you have done wrong, there is no need for you to take the burden and fire of their anger. We all make mistakes. If this was your mistake, correct it. If not, and they're willing to discuss it calmly, help them find a resolution. It's not your job to help them find someone else to blame, or for you to take on the burden of their anger. Remain calm, positive, listen. Enter the interaction with a beginner's mind. No assumptions. No thought to your alleged expertise or experience, and none to the speaker's possible lack of expertise or experience. Just an open mind, ready to listen deeply, ready to learn, ready to experience the emotion of the speaker. Please join me in Gassho. Seeing misery in those who cling to views, a wise person should not adapt to any of them. A wise person does not, by opinions, become arrogant. How could anyone bother those who are free, who do not grasp at any views? But those who grasp after views and opinions wander around the world annoying people. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Jones. Next, we will have Gatha Ondok-san 2 on page 76 in the small service book.
Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Please be seated.
Are there any announcements?
Good morning. I'm Jeannie Nakano. I'm representing Eco Sangha this morning. In 3 weeks, it will be April 13th, which is Earth Day. We made some changes for you. Hope you will enjoy the day. On April 13th, you will come to service at 9:30, half hour earlier. You will join the Dharma School students in their service. Because we have a guest speaker, and we really do want everyone to be able to enjoy him together. We are one Sangha. And then at 10 o'clock, the students and their teachers will exit. They will go on to the annex to begin their Earth Day activities. The committee, which is me and our Eco Sangha committee, will also exit probably right before announcements to reach the annex before the students to get ready to begin teaching all the things that we've been learning over the past 13 years of our annual Earth Day, of reusing, recycling, refusing, all of those R's. You will continue to see them this year. We do have a guest speaker. His name is Michael Kobori. He was the CSO, Chief of Sustainability Officer. You heard of CEO, Chief Executive Officer. He's a CSO. He retired in January of this year. He worked for 22 years at Levi's. How many of you have worn Levi clothes? Quite a few. And after the 22 years, after a few months at home, he decided he had still some good years in him. So he went on to work for Starbucks, again as a CSO, Sustainability Officer. How many of you enjoy Starbucks? A few. Okay, good. Anytime I would see an article in the paper about Starbucks, and these are in recent years, that has to do with something Starbucks has changed in terms of sustainability. The last article I cut out was Starbucks was allowing reusable. You could bring your own cups, right, to Starbucks. You don't have to use a throwaway cup. You could use your own recyclable cups. That's sustainability. So this is what Michael Kobori did for both companies, Levi Strauss and Starbucks. He's a fascinating man. I didn't know who he was until I saw an ad in the paper, and it said Michael Kobori. You know, sometimes you just got to be curious about things. And so I just asked around, and I found out he grew up here in San Jose. In fact, he comes from a Buddhist family. In fact, he came to Dharma School here, and his father was the superintendent of Dharma School. So he's really part of our history here. So I think you will all be fascinated to hear from him. So that's why we chose sustainability as our theme for the art contest. Kind of a difficult topic to kind of figure out an art project, but I hope the children and the adults, those of you who are working on an art project, have been able to show us sustainability. The reason why April 13th is going to be different is that you're going to start together, and then you'll go over at 10:30. So Michael Kobori will remain with you until 10:30 and continue his message to you at a more adult level. So he'll speak once at Dharma School and again for you at the 10:10 service. Now, is Gilbert here today? He was worried for you that you will not come on time and come at the regular 10:10 time. So I'll make this announcement again next Sunday. Hopefully, that'll be 2 weeks before Earth Day, and you will remember to come at 9:30, April 13th. So we have activities for you too. Before it was mainly the children. So as soon as you come to the annex about 10:35, 10:40, you will join right in with the Mottainai dance. Mottainai means we do not waste. So there is a dance. So please join in. We would love to see all of you join the children on that day. Thank you very much.
Hope that doesn't mean Starbucks use recycled coffee. I'm not sure how that all works. Just a quick announcement. So 2 weeks from today is Hanamatsuri, which is one of our major events. And I'm assuming it'll be in the gym like normally. But we also have a luncheon afterwards. And so we're asking people if you can bring something to help us out with the luncheon, that'd be great. We actually have a sign-up sheet in the back just to give us an idea of what kind of foods we might expect to see. But hopefully we'll see you all there. Again, it's a major service and it's a great time. It's spring, right? Here we go. Thank you.
Thank you to Rinban Sakamoto, Reverend Jones, Minister Assistants Dennis Akizuki and Sumi Tanabe, organist Colleen Tsuchimoto, and AV Coordinator Steve Onishi. Thank you everyone for attending this morning's service. We will now have closing gasho. So afterwards, please come forward for incense offering, and then after that, please join us in the multipurpose room for refreshments. Thank you.
Please join me in Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Nama. Thank you, everybody. Please come forward for Oshoko. Thank you.
Say.